Chris Chinnock for Insight Media here in the MICLEDI Microdisplay booth at CES 2022. I'll try and explain what they're doing. They gave me a very brief explanation and then had to run off to a meeting. But what's very interesting about the company is, first of all, they can make red, green, and blue micro LEDs all on gallium nitride. Now, typically, green and blue are made in gallium nitride, but it's usually aluminum gallium phosphide that you use the red, but they can actually make red on gallium nitride as well. So what they do is they start with an epi wafer, whatever it is for red, green, or blue. They dice that, and they pattern it and dice it, and actually remove the individual LEDs and put them on a 300 millimeter, a large 8-inch wafer, a silicon wafer that they can now process through a silicon foundry. And that silicon foundry actually was able to do the epi processing to create the LEDs. So it's very efficient, because typically these wafers are the gallium nitride wafers are 4-inch or 6-inch. So now you can go to 8-inch and even 12-inch, which is 300 millimeter wafer processing. So much more efficiency. And they have an example of that right here. This is the wafer with all of these. These are patterned full HD 1920 by 1080 resolution devices on that 12-inch silicon wafer. So that can go through a silicon foundry, very efficient. In addition, you can now run your drivers through a silicon foundry, and then you do a bonding process. You slice out the drivers, which is a very complex driver because it has some kind of compensation circuitry on it as well. And then those just get bonded to the LED module. So what you end up with is, what's a little hard to see here, is a bunch of full HD micro displays that are standalone devices with their own drivers, silicon drivers in the back of them. They do. First of all, they do not do color conversion. These are all just red, green, and blue discrete devices, and then their business model is to sell those devices, and then it's up to the system integrator, the AR glasses manufacturer, to decide how they're going to couple those into a waveguide or some other optical architecture to create some AR glasses. Now, I also asked them about how they can do gallium nitride red, and it turns out that since they're making such very small devices, we're talking 3 microns, the efficiency of aluminum gallium nitride red devices at 3 microns is so small that actually the much lower efficiency of gallium nitride red is actually higher. So at this micron size, it's actually more efficient to go with gallium nitride than aluminum gallium nitride, which is kind of interesting. Now, as you get bigger in sizes, that equation may change. Red is still the most inefficient one, but fascinating observations that they made here. So that's about as much as I know. Chris Chinnock for Insight Media.